Throughout your engagement with various nonprofits, it is important to recognize the distinct relationship that exists between a gift giver and the nonprofit that might receive her or his resources. Unfortunately, despite the fact that we have the same social change objectives, there are many issues related to the unique power imbalance of philanthropy. Donors have money and nonprofits are often competing to get it. This can create an environment where grantees are compromising their strategy and values, or in some cases even misrepresenting their activities and programs in order to appear more aligned with a specific donor's funding priorities. Same is true on the other side of the grant when reporting results back to donors. While keeping your passions and interests at the core of your philanthropic work, never forget that the nonprofit is the expert. They have the team, the institutional knowledge, and the experience in combating a specific social challenge. Allow them to help shape, if not shape entirely, how your gift is utilized whenever it is possible. Nonprofits, after all, are the ones who translate our generosity into social good. If they are worth investing in, aren't they worthy of your trust? If not, then give your funds elsewhere. Another challenge that all nonprofits hope that we donors recognize is the capacity and cost issues associated with grants. Depending on our needs, there might be a significant time or labor cost. Applying for a grant, giving a site visit, providing interim reporting on the process of a grant, ongoing management of the evaluation process, the end of grant lifecycle report, just to name a few. Essentially, there are costs associated with using and tracking progress on a gift. So make sure to include those in your donation or loosen your restrictions to not become overly burdensome on the nonprofit you wish to support. If you require an evaluation, in my opinion, you should pay for that evaluation. Nonprofits who do not necessarily have the funds to do so are still going to be worthy recipients of your funding. Or alternatively, fund alongside a major professional grant maker and ask to see their evaluation. Now, this often requires some upfront, albeit in many cases informal conversations with that grant maker as well as the recipient of that grant. So make sure that your gift is worthy of their time or just trust in their expertise. If a major staff foundation has provided consistent funding over multiple years to a nonprofit, then you are probably going to be able to trust that these investments have strong results, or the foundation most likely would not continue to fund them. Finally, there are some cultural issues to be aware of. These issues can be reduced by simply respecting that the nonprofit knows their area of impact well, building trust with the nonprofit, and recognizing that as a donor, you may wield more power than you realize. Approach your interactions with any nonprofit with humility and a deep respect for their expertise, their ongoing work, and their time. Invite them to tell you their challenges and failures in a very safe way, such as providing them funding for them to improve programs that they currently feel are not working as effectively or efficiently as they could be, or funding a program evaluation to find out that information. It's those dollars that often have a far greater social benefit than funding current programs, as proving a program effective or ineffective can ultimately influence the use of all future program donations, i.e. funding if it works, or directing funds elsewhere, or funding to fix a program if it does not work. Now it's time for you to reach out to your nonprofits to secure more information. If you are planning on creating a grant proposal for a smaller gift, an email is sufficient. With larger donations, a phone call may be appropriate. See the supplemental materials section on our course website for examples of donor outreach and what is or is not most appropriate. The goal is to identify information that might be unavailable through other sources, as well as give nonprofits a chance to respond to any questions or concerns that you may have. Depending on the information you require, it may be more appropriate to reach out to a volunteer or an advisor to the organization rather than a paid staff member whose time is already assuredly quite limited.